lives in the sunlit world of what he believes to be reality. But there is, unseen by most, an underworld, a place that is just as real, but not as brightly lit. A dark side.
All right, man. Look, peace, love, cool, straight. I'm not even gonna lie, yo. This shit is starting to get weird for me. Even I'm like, what the? All right. First of all, I'm not the end all be all to your life. Okay, you are in control of your own destiny, people. You will do what you feel is right in your life that you need to do for your life. I'm not sitting here telling people to, listen to anything that I'm saying. I'm saying I'm really, really trying to get you guys to realize they didn't tell us anything. Like, they didn't tell us nothing. They gave us a lot of BS. And it's just starting to all add up to where I'm looking at it and saying to myself, why are things going this way? If it was just what they said and, they didn't do nothing extra, it's like, then why are we going through this shit? Why am I having these problems, yo? So, all right, man. So as you guys can see, I hope you guys can see. I'll read it. Where are we at? I could read it on there, but I have it actually like closer to me. All right. Okay, it says in 1786, George Washington complained about how one of his runaway slaves was helped by a society of Quakers formed for such purposes. The system grew, and around 1831, it was dubbed the Underground Railroad. Okay, so that is the conception of the Underground Railroad. So before Harriet Tubman, something that they're not telling you, they're telling you Harriet Tubman created the Underground Railroad. And it's like, okay, that's fine, but this is why you're able to find a white guy that created the Underground Railroad, because it just told you in 1786 there is a there's a slave that escapes via the help of the Quaker Society. So it is not Harriet Tubman that started this. Plus, her real name is something Rose, and her nickname was Minty Moses. So the whole Harriet Tubman thing, they're like, oh, she changed her name. Okay, why would she do that? Why did that happen? But whatever, it doesn't even matter. I want to know something. I want to know, why did they tell us that? Why did they tell us that about the Underground Railroad? Why did they tell us that it was started by Harriet Tubman, when at the end of the day, it clearly states that in 1786, George Washington complained about one of his runaway slaves that was helped by the Society of Quakers. We're going to get into them and the Masons later, but another thing we need to look at is Uncle Tom. And this is the thing about it. Like, this is so weird. Because they'll talk about, the book, and what did I type in? I have the exact thing that I typed in. Hold on. What did I type in? Because I want to show you guys, so that way you don't think I'm making up stuff. And here's the crazy thing. It's from the Smithsonian. This ain't even like no regular talk. This is some real business right here. Hold on. Because it's Josiah Hansen, the dude that I told you guys about. Ha. Smithsonian. Ha. All right. So you guys can't say that I'm lying about it or anything. All right, let's talk about that. How did he get to Canada? Where is it at? Where's that 600 mile? There it is. Bam. Okay. It says, let's read it at Riley's nephew Amos. Riley Amos, you guys can see this, right? I gotta make sure you guys can see it. Okay, yeah, you got it. So Riley's nephew Amos, the young man tasked with selling Henson contacted Maria or Maria, something like that. Anyway, because that's besides the point. Rather than letting the son die, Henson loaded him on a steamship and returned north. In 1830, Henson ran away with his wife and two youngest children and walked more than 600 miles to Canada. Okay, now, wait a second. If you keep reading, it says, once in a new land, Henson helped start in 1841 a freedmen settlement called the British American Institute in an area called Don, which became known as one of the final stops on the Underground Railroad. Now, here's the weird thing. They say he walked 600 miles to Canada, even though I know the Underground Railroad you're walking in. I understand that. But what I'm saying is they didn't say he took this Underground Railroad. They said him and his family walked 600 miles to Canada. And then when he's up there, and don't get it confused, the Underground Railroad was established in 1831. This is what they say. So in 1830, a year before it's established that this is a road, him and his whole family escaped. He's also the guy. Remember, this is who they hid and called Uncle Tom, but in truth, his name is Josiah Henson. He's also the one that went back and got at least 200 more people free. This is a story they disguised and claimed as Uncle Tom, the one who gets beaten to death in the fake story. That's not real. They created this story off of the backbone of this guy's truth. But in that time, telling a story about a black man escaping slavery with his family and his kids, and then going back and freeing other people and not getting killed, that's a little too heroic for the times. So I understand why, people never knew about Josiah and they just stuck with Uncle Tom, and then also with people, coming around with the whole Boule thing. We're about to get into that. Like, we're about to show why people don't look at it a certain way, why they only look at it in one way. They don't want to admit that they've been played, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really for that. That's not really my type of thing. It's not really my cup of tea. I don't like being lied to. You know what I'm saying? Maybe other people do. I don't know. But I just find it really interesting that they have. Oh, shit. I think I hung up on the wrong person. But anyway, I just find it interesting that oh no, never mind. Good. I find it interesting the way that they give this story, but they're not telling certain things. Like, I thought these are supposed to be uneducated people that created their own road and everything like that. Give me 1 second. I'll take care of this. Hey, what's up? Yeah. Yep. Nah, he was just Hispanic dude holding the check, so I thought he was important. He had all the paycheck. You ever told me his name? Like, he was a dummy and he was supposed to take the order. Yeah, I remember. Unless they got more than one. But I've done that route before. That's usually the last stop. Yeah. He said, I didn't order anything today. He said, I did not All right. Where was that? Oh yeah. So you have a guy that they change his name, lied, say he doesn't even exist. He's not even a real person. He's Uncle Tom. But Uncle Tom is actually Josiah Henson, who nobody ever talked about ever because he ends up escaping slavery with him, his wife, his kids, goes back, sets free 200 more slaves and his brother. The story sounds similar to Harriet Tubman because that was about the same amount of people they said that she freed. So that's why it's interesting how she changes her name to a European name. She doesn't even change her name to like some African name. You know what I mean? She's Harriet Tubman now, but she already had a name. And then she has this nickname, Minty Moses, that nobody ever talks about, but that happens in 1931. That's when it's coined. The phrase Underground Railroad is coined in 1931. This guy escapes in 1930. This is interesting. Now, who would have lied about that story? Because why would white people lie about something that they don't have to lie about? They don't have to lie about it. You know, and they can tell you to your face, oh yeah, you know, we built that railroad. Yeah, it's the Quakers. And why wouldn't they tell you that? Why would they hide it? I think because the story is, it's fugazi. They're making you guys think that, you know, Harriet Tubman wasn't a part of this agenda. And I'm going to show you how you know she was. Let's listen to what a black person that is, you know, in the knowledge circle and all that. Let's listen to what they tell us about Black Masons. And then also let's listen to how they throw, because I don't know how long people have been watching my other page. I have already done a video proving that Prince Hall is not from Africa. His mom is French and his dad is an English dude, and he's born in Barbados. People can say, oh, she's from, you know, the African. She is not documented as an African. She's documented as a French lady. They've never had a problem calling slaves a slave. They've never had a problem doing that. So I don't know why they would give this black lady this pass, and now all of a sudden she's not an African slave. She's a French woman. I don't know why they would do that. But nevertheless, that's what that's what they say. If you look up Prince Hall's parents, it's going to tell you that his mom is French and his dad's an Englishman. Okay. He's running the African Lodge though, but he has no relationship to Africa. His mom's French, his dad's from England. He's born in Barbados. He has nothing to do with Africa, but they're putting him in charge of the African Lodge. That's weird. But forget that. Let's go to the Boule and let's hear what Brother Rob Bourne. Oh my God, let's give him a round of applause. Oh, I love when you niggas telling yourselves. I love it. Let's give a round of applause for Rob Bourne for saying this. Slaves are supposed to be ignorant. They're not supposed to have any knowledge at all. They're supposed to be running up north to get free, to get knowledge, to become, you know, whatever. What does Rob Bourne tell us as in the Underground Railroads? Let's listen.
Yeah, talk about that. Yeah, talk about that.
I actually think they are Boule. I'm just gonna. I mean, come on, man. They're protecting the crown of the Europeans. I mean, Jesse Jackson. He's in one of them for certain. They all.
So you believe that Professor James Smalls is protecting the crown of the Europeans?
Well, he ain't that big.
You believe that Dr. Ben is protecting the crowns of the Europeans? JJ, but you got to understand that there's a difference. There's a difference between the white Masons and the Black Masons, man.
Oh, really?
So you got to understand that.
I understand, and I do understand that part because.
So stop putting all the Masons in the box. Just like you don't want to be in the box with all Hebrews.
Why not? Right. Shaquille O'Neal. Now, would y'all say that he's a 33 degree?
I don't know what
TV.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie though. For the record, you can't do that. You really can't. You can't put all Masons in a box. But you'd be a damn fool to separate them by race. And I'm just gonna be dead honest. That was a dumb statement. But you do need to separate because all Masons aren't the same. Let's finish.
Shaquille O'Neal is a 33 degree Mason.
He got that big ass ring and he's showing.
Yes, he is. And Scottie Pippen is a Mason as well.
So check it out though. But
You
here's
gonna
the
throw a bullshit on there,
issue
you get
with
up
this though, JJ. So when you look at the Underground Railroad,
But
do
so
know-
what? They Masons. Go ahead, Rob. I'm
Listen.
sorry.
If you look at the Underground, when you look at the look, if you look at the Underground Railroad, a lot of those what you call houses were the Black Masonic lodges. When you look at the first back, since you don't hate
Hold
Africa
up.
no more.
Hold up.
When you look at the first back, since you don't hate.
That makes no sense. These
Pippin is a Mason as well.
So check it out though. But
You gonna
here's
throw a
the
bullshit on there, you get
issue
up
with this though, JJ. So when you look at the Underground Railroad,
But
do
so
know-
what? They Masons. Go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry.
When you look at the Underground, when you look at the look, if you look at the Underground Railroad, a lot of those what you call houses were the Black Masonic lodges.
I thought these are slaves, guys. I'm not even done with that tape, but hold on. I thought these are slaves, guys. And they're not supposed to have no knowledge at all. Then, mind you, we've already read that the true first escape through the Underground Railroad is in 1786. And it's George Washington complaining that some Quakers helped some slaves escape. They say that Quakers is a religion. They say it has nothing to do with Masonry because Masonry is not a religion. That's what they say. I'm going to bust that bubble too. But hold up. George Washington is a Mason. He's arguing about Quakers helping slaves escape. Rob Bourne tells us in the Underground Railroad, a lot of those houses were Mason lodges. So all through the Underground Railroad, these, what you gonna do, boss? They got Masonic knowledge? How enslaved was they? To be raised up by somebody in this tunnel that was founded by some Quakers, white people. This doesn't sound like the story they give us. They just made a movie called Harriet, where it's about this strong black woman that, you know, escapes and she's set free among black people, and they create the Underground Railroad, and the trail that they found, like following the stars. And let's show them lying again before the Underground Railroad even start. Let's show them lying way back in there. Let's go.
You look at the first back, since you don't hate Africa no more, the first Back to Africa movement. Good, the Back to Africa movement is started by Prince Hall, bro.
The guy from Barbados that has nothing to do with Africa. Let's hear it again.
Good, the Back to Africa movement is started by Prince Hall, bro. When you look at those first petitions and first,
Here, one more time.
no more.
Let's hear it all.
What you call houses. If you look at the Underground Railroad, a lot of those what you call houses were the Black Masonic lodges. When you look at the first back, since you don't hate Africa no more, the first Back to Africa movement. Good, the Back to Africa movement is started by Prince Hall, bro. When you look at those first petitions.
Now, here's my argument. It seems like all of these lodges, two things. It seems like there was smart blacks way before they claimed that there was. It seems like there have always been smart blacks here. That's first. Second thing is, it also seems like black and white get along more than we thought. That's the weird thing. Seems like. It seems like the chessboard. It seems like black and whites have always worked with each other. All the way back to the slavery thing. The white guys trading for slaves. They're doing business with each other. Doesn't sound like they're big enemies. Okay, the Underground Railroad a white guy creates because it was a Quaker who helped this runaway get free through this trail. This shit goes all the way back to 1786, not the 1800s, where Minty Moses is from, you know what I'm saying? Because this is her nickname. You know what I'm saying? Her nickname is Minty Moses. This is what they call Harriet Tubman. Because, see, this is what y'all don't get. Harriet Tubman is not her name until she escapes. And she's at peace. And, you know what I'm saying? She's done fighting and she's good. That's when she changes her name. Her name getting there, getting to the north to be able to change her name is Minty Moses. You mean to tell me you don't think that Harriet Tubman was fucking like she was an Eastern Star before that was a thing, like before you guys knew what it was? That's not possible. That's the Dane Calloway argument where he's like, yo, it's a character that made it up. It has to be a character because that's not her name during the whole episode. During the whole reading the stars to get where she's going, bro, she's not known as no Harriet Tubman. There is no Harriet Tubman. She's Minty Moses. That name doesn't come until after she's free, after she's there. Then she creates a name. And that's the character that we get. Nobody knows about this slave named Rose something, Anima Rose, something like that. That was her original name. Then during this trail, her nickname becomes Minty Moses. Then she's changed into Harriet Tubman. That's 3 fucking name changes for a real person. That's kind of odd. You know what I'm saying? That's just kind of odd to me. Then, why did they tell you that she started the Underground Railroad? They say she started it when it was actually a Quaker. Now, theoretically and truthfully, the Quakers are not the Masons and the Masons are not the Quakers. But here's where the game gets interesting. If you've studied the Masons, then you know who Albert Pike is. A lot of people have heard that name. Albert Pike said something very interesting. And I think it's like in the oaths in the beginning of, you know, the Masons out here, or the Freemasons, whatever. And he says something on, I'm paraphrasing, but he says something on the limbs of, you can have your religion. You can be a religious person, that's fine. But when you come into the lodge, you have to know that that is perceived as a like child foolish like way of thinking. That to sky daddy the book. You know what I mean? The way, like, remember on this page I teach you allegory. The reverse of that is to sky daddy the book. But here's the thing about the Quakers. Nobody ever said that the Quakers looked at God like that. Because they don't. The Quakers look at God like everybody has an individual difference with this energy. You know, like you're a person. That's weird. That's weird because that seems like the same thing that the Masons are doing, the way that they're reading the holy books. They're doing it allegorically, placing them in the story and making the moves the way that they see fit, not the book. But here's another trippy thing. Even though Quakers are religious, they're not bound to the Bible. They don't even look at the Bible like that. They don't do it word for word. They look at it like a guidebook. See, I told you this shit is weird. It's getting real weird because it's like, it seems like the spell casting thing is true. Seems like that's what really happened. Some spells got casted and people start taking information in a poor way. They didn't get, well, maybe because they weren't teaching it that way, but it seemed like people just didn't get what they were doing. But these two supposedly don't get along in the story. Because George Washington is banging on him. He's like, yo, fuck Quakers, help one of my fucking slaves get away. That's how they plan it. But wait a second. George Washington's a Mason. Always remember, this country is founded in 1776. Prince Hall gets his lodge in 1775. I'm going to say that again. This country was founded in 1776. But Prince Hall gets his lodge in 1775. He has never been considered a slave ever. And they're like, oh, but he's a black man. First of all, Prince Hall is an American. He's from Barbados. Don't matter where his parents is from. It matters where he's from. He's from America. But he's the leader of the African Lodge. With a white man as a father. Doesn't matter, which parent was black, which one was white, but his dad's an Englishman. Never was a slave a day in his life. He gets the Prince Hall Masons, but they run these black people. George Washington mad at the Quakers. But remember, that's in 1786. There's already a free melanated being with his own lodge. And guess who founded this country? The first president, George Washington. Maybe Miss Pearly Things had a point when she said that George Washington's slaves were inherited. Like, he's not a down south slave master. He's from the north. But it's like, he's not one of them 13 colony people. He's not really. He's somebody who, they offered him the job. They wanted him to be the president. So for him to have his hair the way that he has it, like the Quakers, George Washington literally looks like a fucking Quaker. The Quaker Oats dude, who's the closest person in this country that looks like him? Quaker Oats guy. Who's the closest person to look like him on earth that you know in America? Dollar bill, baby. George Washington. See, I think there's a truth to the Quakers and the Masons that nobody's talking about. I think there's a divine hidden secret about them too. Because it's funny how they're both using black people, but at the same time helping black people at the same time. And they're supposedly not friends. And supposedly these black people are all enslaved. Now remember, this is all textbook knowledge. None of you have seen anybody with, besides in the movie. Oh, there's real slave accounts. You know that shooting that happened at that school? The transsexual? They killed 3 kids and 3 adults? That's 33, right? Right there. So things aren't scripted. Because they told you it wasn't. All right. Fine. They're not working with each other. Black and white people, they're not. Hell no. There's this big argument. It's racism going on. People are dying. The injustice, sneaking backs, computer chip plans. These are the people that they rolling with, the Green New Deal, all that stuff. How you gonna not see the connections? If you're watching the world science fucking conversation and the old bald-head German dude talking about putting chips in people's head, and he's a globalist for the Green New Deal. Okay, then you see these people over here, the Green New Deal. Okay, so what? They locking people up for prostitutes. That's gonna fall in their face anyway. I don't even care about that. What I'm trying to say, I'm trying to show the big picture and why they put people on a standstill and put so many stories up. I already know I'm Nipmuc Indian. I know that. I don't have no problem with no Africans. That's not the issue. The issue is you can clearly see what an African is and what you are. You can see it. Y'all so different. Y'all smell different. I'm not lying. I'm not lying to you. Like literally, y'all literally smell different. No, well, everybody smells different. No. Y'all supposed to be the same people. That's like a Japanese culture over here and then in Japan, and they like, yo, they smell totally different from Japanese. I've never heard that before. Because I've never heard of an offshoot culture somewhere else anyway. Like, that's never happened. So that means people in England when they meet a real African, they smell. These are black English people. No, they smell different than that. Black Canadians, like you're not them. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with them. No, because I'm pretty sure a fucking Scottish dude smells different from a Russian. Pretty sure of it. But I'm saying that to say this. Why would they do all this anyway? Why is there, underground sanctum? Why doesn't nobody want to talk about the CIA? None of them. The left or the right. You'd be like, oh, no. They don't not talk about them like they got them in the pocket. No, they don't talk about them like they're nervous. Like, we don't really get in those conversations. And on this new page, we're gonna run back some of the videos I already got. I still got them loaded, but we're gonna run back a lot of the information. How CERN came out in the 50s, 1954, the same year that the civil rights movement started. 1954 is like, because I tell people all the time, I don't think CERN is about a weather machine. I think it's about a brain machine. I think like it can channel waves to your head, and I think it's not doing a good enough job because there's too many of us out here free. That's why old boy talking about the chip. See, now think about it. The CERN machine is already out there, and it already messes with vibrational waves. Just think of what it could do to you if they put that chip in you. Hey, you all messed up. Oh, yeah, we're making up stuff. Remember, I was talking about this shit a long time ago, the Terminators, all that shit. Oh, no, it's just a story. Oh, you just watching movies. I literally have the audio. You can watch it. The dude's talking about it in 10 years, everybody having a chip in their head. And these are the supposed to be the mega brains of the world. But I'm wrong. I'm telling you that they lied. They stole a whole new world. That's what they called it even. It's like they stole a whole hidden branch of the earth. Because people want to talk stories about, the new Native American. And I'm laughing at that. I'm like, bro, they literally tell you they've only been here 12,000 years. Why would you believe that? LaDon is way older than that. And even if you say it's not older than that, okay, well then explain this to me. Just explain this. Who is Lucica? And why did that scientist on BBC put that information out? And why was he not black? Wasn't no black person. He wasn't. He was like Spanish dude, but it's like, or French. He was French or Spanish, one of the two. But yo, he said them bones was 50,000 years old. So that discredits everybody that claims they've been over here. The Native American that y'all talking about the Bering Strait Asian, the Siberian. That's impossible. Lucica is 50,000 years old. And he tagged her. Of course, they're going to put Africa first. It is what it is. But it's like they tagged her African, Australian, and American. That's where the bones was found, in America. But it's like, so you tagging this DNA from Africa to Australia. So now the Africans and the Aborigines, they both the same, and they all over here now. But the only problem comes in when it comes to blood. America, the South America and North, all that stuff, it was all old blood. All of it. In Australia, you can't say that. In Africa, you can't say that. So whatever people that were the original ones in America, that was a different type of blood. That's a DNA argument. I mean, that's how you should know also, when it comes to like the whole Indian talk, it's really kind of like you're discredited straight when we start talking blood, because that's really what it's about. It's not even about genetics or, DNA tests. No. It's really not. It's that all these people were old blood. And if you don't have old blood, you're not us. That's the end of it. Like, we don't have to argue that. Oh, but I got old blood, but I said I'm African. Maybe you are. You know what I'm saying? Oh, look, I took the DNA test. It's on you. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say there's a reason that I have it on paper. And there's a reason that now that I travel back, I'm not wimpy-eyed. I'm not crying about, oh, they did this to our people. Like, see, that's the thing. When they put you in a movie, they blacken the scene. They give you, sugar, popcorn, butter, syrupy stuff. Get you all dimmed out to get your brain warped. The same thing they did with history. And I tell people the whole world's in it. The whole world's involved because the UN was created in 1945 and they changed Hindustan into India in 1947. The whole world has to agree with that. For a country to change its name, for the Soviet Union to change into Russia, Ukraine, Czechoslovakia, for it to do that, you know what I mean? It's like it has to be agreed upon by the whole world. You know what I'm saying? This is a UN conversation. And when we, tore the war down and the Cold War and shit, what happened? That's when, they stopped calling it USSR and it became Russian. Everybody split. Like, think about it, bro. You can literally play Street Fighter games, bro. Street Fighter 2 at that. Where they will literally call where Zangief is from. They'll say USSR. Like, you can literally find that audio still. USSR. You ain't never called that Russia that shit in your life. You ain't never called it that. Soviet Union, USSR. You ain't never called it that. Why? Because that's way before your time. Okay, that's tear the wall down. So in order to do stuff like that, the whole world has to be in agreements with it. Now we gotta change maps, motherfucker. We gotta change maps, all different types of stuff. We gotta change addresses. Like, bro, it's a whole country, it's a whole country name switch. That's a lot of paperwork. There's money. You got to change the name of your money. It's like, think about it. That's a lot of track and field. So how does it? It would have to be a united front. So on this side, the UN, everybody in the earth was involved in saying that Hindus will now be called Indians. And here's the funny thing. The name of the religion is Hinduism. That's the stupidest shit ever. How you gonna call it Indianism? That's not what it is. It's Hinduism. They still got their same deities, Brahma, all that stuff. How the hell are you calling them fucking Indians? No, they not. Red dot or feather. Bro, you're full of shit. They're not Indians. They're Hindus. It's Hinduism. The fuck? Hindustan. Hindus. Hinduism. It's their fucking religion. Like, this is the dumbest shit ever. This is what separates Hinduism from Buddhism. It's like, y'all acting like that shit don't exist. It's just not there. It's not real. Nah, it's real. Now, back to my points. Because this ain't even got to be that long. This just got to be that real. If you got people I'm not even doing videos with, I'm not even hanging out with, Dan Calloway just throwing bullets out like, oh, the Harriet Tubman story made up. All right. Now, that's just that. I'll leave it at that. But then when you research that George Washington back in 1786 is talking about these Quakers helping these runaway slaves get away. But then you know that Prince Hall been had his own lodge since 1775, a year before the country's even fucking founded. Okay, George Washington's a Mason. How would he not know who Prince Hall was? That don't make no sense. that don't make no sense. Now, this is the thing. They say, the Englishman that was Prince Hall's dad, they say he was of the royal families. You know what I'm saying? He was a real, noble. That's why they let him live and do his thing and whatever. The story is the story. But with him free already, and you claiming that, he arguing about Quakers helping slaves get away. And it's from that road that the slaves kept finding due to the Quakers helping them along it, that it became the Underground Railroad in 1831. But in 1830, a guy by the name of Josiah Hansen, aka the story where they got Uncle Tom from, but they lied in the story. They made a bunch of bullshit. He gets free with his wife and his kids on a 600-mile walk to Canada. He ends up making a station there called Dawn, and it's like one of the last stops on the Underground Railroad. Now remember, there's no Underground Railroad yet. There's Quakers helping these Africans, but they don't say nothing about that with Josiah Hansen. They don't say that. They make a story up. They make a story up called Uncle Tom. They create a story. Oh, he's beat to death. Oh, he's faking. That's not even really what happened. That's not even the real person. They're making up people. Why would they do that? And then why after him? Now, in the next year, they create this Underground Railroad, and it's Harriet Tubman that supposedly founded it. But Harriet Tubman is not even her real name. Who is Minty Moses? Oh, that's a nickname they gave her. Who is Harriet Tubman? Oh, that's the girl who gave her. No, it's not, because she doesn't get that name until she changes her own name when she gets up north. So who's leading these people? Who is it? If it ain't Minty Moses, it's Rose, it's Annamella Rose, something like that. You're starting to see the Pac stuff. You're starting to see the twist. And then why would she change her name to sudden European? Why? Where's she getting all these names from? Thought she was a slave. She just got free. You thinking of different names now? You seem highly educated. You don't seem like a dumb slave at all. Like, how'd you get so smart? Maybe because what Rob Bourne said, those houses were Mason lodges. Where is this wisdom coming from? Where are they getting this wisdom, bro? This is what they're not getting. You're not up north yet. You're going through the roads. You're going through the railroads where there's these houses. It's like underground, right? Right. Real secret, because I don't think it was underground. I don't think that's what they mean. I think this is undiscovered territory, you know what I'm saying, that niggas ain't really like got into yet. And maybe there's underground bunkers, maybe. Maybe you got some underground bunkers. Hold on. Maybe there's some underground bunkers, maybe a few, maybe a couple, but I don't think so, really, because he said these houses. Who gave them that information? Who gave them that information? Where'd they get it from? These are slaves. Oh, master, what we gonna do? How did he get so educated? How did she get to switch names and stuff? How did she even know how to do that? Change my name. It's not like at that time her mama wouldn't have named her. I don't even think a slave master named her. The hell is slave master naming the slave Rose? You got the last name Rose? Like, come on, bro. I doubt it. Sounds like some real made up stuff, especially when they're lying about people that really did escape, giving them fake names, making them seem like a sucker in their stories. It's like, that's weird. Then they always gave the Underground Railroad credit to Harriet Tubman. They always said it's her. They even made statues of her, all this type of stuff. Oh, it's her, it's her, it's her, it's her. It's like, no. George Washington argued about Quakers helping runaways get away back in 1786. He's the one that put that thing out there, because they're saying, and that's what became the Underground Railroad. But see, they fucked up, because we know the story about Josiah Henson, and that's in 1930 that he get away. And they say his place that he landed is one of the last stops on the Underground Railroad. If you travel all the way up, if you do it all the way, it'll be in Canada. Why did Harriet Tubman make it to Canada? Why didn't she get the real trail? Why she stopped where she stopped and then changed her name? It's weird. Remember, they gave us the slave story, all that different stuff. They didn't tell you nothing about the census. They didn't tell you nothing about how Native Americans are coined that phrase in the 60s. And they say through the liberals. Same thing that the Negro and the color did when they became black in the 60s through the liberals. It was the one marching with you, right? Remember? You're still in the ghetto. You had your own businesses before you even did all that. You had to. You had to have your own city, segregate. Where you live at, boy, on the street. Where you get your meat from. Where you get your bread from. Come on now. See, all these stories is fugazi as hell. They're weird. Just weird, stupid ass stories. And they just keep playing them over and over and over again, messing with people's brains. And they be like, oh, see, you're disrespecting your people. It's like, no, I'm not. I've heard everything that you said. I'm not a newcomer. This ain't no new shit. I've heard it. I've heard all that African stuff. But I never hear about this type stuff. How the hell it's right in your face where you really look at it and you're like, this shit it's not adding up though. It's not adding up. Why is there Masons and Quakers involved? In the beginning of this, the first person to scream out about this trail is George Washington. Amazing. Arguing about who? The Quakers. Who they say have no affiliation at all. They're not friends, they don't kick it, nothing. But I've already explained the way that they're both moving, so you can clearly see that they kick it, but they're just acting off of the imagery that they don't. And I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough. But what was all the lying for? Well, space aliens, why they came down here yet and slapped the shit out of all the, corruption that's going on? Why not? And who gave you that shit? They gave you that in the 50s. Started getting space movies. That's so weird. First it was monster flicks, remember? It was monsters. Evil scientists. Frankenstein. Then they moved to what? It's flying saucers. Ooh, space invaders. I mean, of course, war, that was what was going on at the time, World War I, II and shit. But in the 50s, what they come with? Space invaders, aliens, creatures from beyond. Everybody got lost in that. Then they was able to come through with some other stuff, and some other stuff, and some other stuff. And you didn't look at history for what it was. Like, maybe there's more to all these stories. You know what I'm saying? The hanging on TV, the dragging people down the street on TV, the TV joints. I'm not saying the stuff that happens to real people that you know. No, I'm saying the TV propaganda. And you see it's all around slavery. Oh, you're saying slavery didn't happen? No, I'm saying it didn't happen the way that they told it. Nothing like it. It was more like, just like they did the Indians. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know you Indian. It's like, it just kind of like lied to you. They kind of like swindled you out of your shit. You know what I'm saying? Same hustle. Same hustle. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even got to use a gun. Same hustle. It's crazy. Till the next time, man. Yo, what do you think? Write your comments. You know what I'm saying? Give a like, whatever. But it's like, did it happen that way that they told you? You can just blanket it and say it the way that they've been told us for years? Or you can stroll down the road I'm giving you. Let me know. Close.